The following is a special presentation of TNN Sports. Las Vegas Boulevard, known as the Strip, filled with high-dollar action, where dreamers bet against the odds, looking to cash out on top. Today, those dreamers are the stars of the NHRA. Rolling at speeds over 300 miles an hour. Vying for the jackpot in the inaugural SummitRacing.com Nationals. It's coming your way from the Strip at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It is racing's newest crown jewel in the Nevada desert. You are looking at the Strip at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's opening weekend, and the NHRA is coming to you on TNN Sports. The SummitRacing.com Nationals is here in Las Vegas, Nevada. It is a simply magnificent day for this magnificent setting. Temperature 85 degrees. The weatherman says it could well creep over the 90-degree mark before the day is done. And certainly in a community where big dollars are always the big story, we are seeing nearly $1.8 million on the line today out of the $45 million purse that make up the 23 races in the NHRA Winston Drag Racing Series. Top fuel points, they are tight, as you'd expect, just 3 races in. But some big stories are going to be unfolding here today, and you've got the best seat in the house. Take a look at the next group of 5 as the point standings shake down with Doug Coletta, Bob Vandergriff, Doug Herbert, Corey McLenithan, and Don Lampus. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway and the Strip. Eli Gold, along with the Chi-Town hustler, Frank Hawley. Now, Frank, over the years, we have seen Bristol open up. We have seen a lot of new racetracks open up for the NHRA Winston drag racing scene. What are these competitors having to deal with here this weekend on an unproven quarter mile?
Well, of course, all the drag strips are a quarter of a mile long and 60 feet wide, and the walls are the same. Right. And this is no different. But what is different is that it's a brand new racetrack. Now, the first part of the racetrack is all concrete, so that's pretty easy to duplicate from one track to the other. But it's the asphalt, the last part of the racetrack, that's difficult to make exactly the same. In fact, I've even heard stories where they would import the components from one state to another to try and duplicate really good asphalt. Right. So we're going to need a lot of race cars down this track in order to get good performance.
Now, one thing is the same here this weekend as at any other racetrack. Some guys have figured it out right off the bat, and others have not. Take a look at the qualifying order and see how your favorite is done. For Kenny Bernstein, the 51st time ever that he has been the #1 qualifier. Melanie Troxel has been wonderfully successful and popular here this weekend. The second group of 16 who have made it in top fuel include some very interesting names, and of course veterans including Doug Coletta, fresh off a victory last time out, and Bobby Baldwin bringing up the number 16 spot. Now, we have already seen round 1 competition take place. Here's how the ladders work through 1 round already complete. Advancing are Kenny Bernstein. Now, Tony Schumacher advanced only because Tim Gibson, who actually won the round, was found to have had unapproved fuel. That new 90% rule, 90% of nitromethane is all you're allowed. He was over the limit, so that gave the win to Schumacher. And there you see the others who have also advanced through round 1 of competition. Let's take you back now, and Frank, let's rehash what was a very interesting and scary run for the man on the near side, Doug Herbert.
Well, Herbert's racing Dixon here in the first round of competition. He's actually out in front, looking pretty good in that half track, spins the tires, and then has a huge explosion. A lot of sparks, blew a tire out, and was very, very fortunate to keep that car at Dixon's lane and in the center of the track, and he was okay.
Now, we also told you a short while ago how Tony Schumacher lost to Tim Gibson. Here's how the run looked. But again, Schumacher was given the win after Gibson was found to have 90.4% nitro. He wasn't cheating. It was just a mistake.
No, they have to draw the line somewhere. It's 90%, and the way they measure it from the temperature of the air can even change. They just made a miscalculation was all.
Third member of our broadcast crew this season, as in years past, Steve Evans, who's here in Las Vegas. He has an update on the #1 qualifier, Kenny Bernstein.
Thanks, Eli. You Kenny Bernstein fans will be happy to know morale is high in the Bud King pits, and it should be. Now, Kenny hasn't won on the National Event Trail in 26 starts over a full calendar year. But Friday, they roared in here with a brand new Brad Hadman car. So new Kenny had not even sat in it until they warmed it up, and promptly took the #1 qualifying position with a stunning 4.63 second elapsed time. They beat Bobby Bolden in round #1, but performance fell off to a 4.73 because they're making so much power, and the clutch was maybe a little tight. They were smoking the giant Goodyear tires. So they've got to find that power balance to contend with some of the 60s recorded by Gary Scelzi and Corey Mack. Eli?
Steve, thank you very much. We'll, of course, follow the exploits of Kenny Bernstein. A magnificent day. Doesn't matter if you're a youngster, an oldster, or anywhere in between. There's something for you here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We're back with the funny car picture next. As you'd expect here in Glitter Gulch, it's a great crowd for NHRA Winston Drag Racing opening weekend of this magnificent strip here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Time now to update you on funny car doings. Let's first check out the points, bring you up to speed through 3 races this year. Jerry Tolliver has just been skunking the series.
Well, I'll tell you, seeing John Force in 2nd place is something new for a lot of these race fans.
Hey, it's new for Force. He's been kind of ticked off about it. Look and see how your favorite is doing. Al Hoffman in there at number 10 in the Moon Eyes machine for Jim Dunn. Now, taking a look at qualifying order for this weekend. See if your favorite made it into the top 16. No major surprises. Yeah, right. Todd Payton, 2nd time out of the box. He's #1 qualifier.
And as a fellow Canadian, I feel quite proud of Todd. He's doing a great job.
We've had to sing "Oh Canada" up here in the booth 3 times already today, folks. There you see Kristen Powell is in. Tolliver, number 14 qualifier, and Bob Gilbertson also making the field. Now, round 1 is already complete. Let's see who has advanced and who has not here at Las Vegas. Gilbertson thought he'd be able to pull off an upset, but Todd Payton got by him. Tony Pedregon, Tim Wilkerson gets the win, and John Force and Cannon. We're going to look at that highlight in a moment. That was a good run.
On this side, you can see Hoffman moved in. He was one of the other cars that has a lot of potential to fly and maybe win this race.
But the big story, obviously, the fact the #1 man in points. He's been so hot, Jerry Tolliver, just not making it through round #1.
What's so difficult about this, so good for Scusa, of course, is to win the round of competition. But a lot of people will say, well, it's early in the year, so the points don't matter that much. The points count the same amount for a round win, whether it's early or late in the year. And this first round loss is going to come back and bite them.
And 2 of the NHRA's most unusual personalities, John Force and Scotty Cannon, head-to-head.
John Force, they didn't qualify all that well. They struggled a little bit, lost a few qualifying runs, but Austin Coyle came back and did an excellent job, gave him a good car for that first round.
Steve Evans, obviously, though, probably the biggest story of the day, and the weekend has to be Todd Payton getting in there as #1 qualifier.
Well, folks, there are 2 wonderful stories in the funny car pits here in Las Vegas, and they are at opposite ends of the age and experience spectrum. First of all, let's talk about the young Canadian from Toronto. That would be Todd Payton. He drove his first Nitro funny car race a few weeks ago in Gainesville, Florida, qualified for and went to the semis. Here this weekend, he stunned the crowd, taking the #1 qualifying spot at 4.94 seconds. He beat Bob Gilbertson earlier today in round 1 with a solid 5 flat. I mean, this team is on a roll, the Nitro Fish, as they call it. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, how about the grumpy old men? Al Hoffman and Jim Dunn teamed up to put out Whit Bazemore in round #1 with the 2nd best elapsed time of the weekend, 4.95. This is going to get really interesting. Eli?
And thank you to our own grumpy old, well, no, Steve's not grumpy. Steve's not old.
He smiles all the time. He's a nice guy. Steve's not grumpy.
Steve is a nice guy. We're back to the strip where all the green is about to wave.